All right, I want to welcome everybody to a very special episode of the Beard Owl podcast. I'm Lauren. I'm always here. My brother is off doing something else, likely taking care of his child, which is what I lead with these days. But anyway, I am joined by a guest, as I am on these very special episodes, and I have Ryan Luis Rodriguez. I'm gonna butcher your name. I have Ryan Luis Rodriguez from the Coolness Chronicles. How are you today, Ryan?
I am good. How are you doing?
I am marvelous. I'm marvelous. I'm about to be better here in a second because I'm going to crack my beer open on the Beard Owl podcast.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's what I do. And I just want to talk about this real quick before I let you talk about yourself, because I'm kind of proud with how I paired this beer with the topic of the day, which is the Weird Al Show, for those of you who may not have read the title of this episode.
You silly people.
I know what you're getting into before you listen. This is a double dry hopped New England IPA from Modest Brewing Company in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and it's called No Save Point, because unfortunately for the Weird Al Show, there was no save point. It
Yes.
could not be saved. So that's what I have, and I'm gonna kick it to you now to talk about your show, yourself, anything you want to say right here at the beginning.
Alrighty. I do basically 4 podcasts, only
Whoa!
3 of which are currently available, so I guess I'll stick to those. I do my bread and butter is the Coolness Chronicles, which is a kind of long form narrative podcast where I try to talk about the history and legacy of certain movies and TV shows. And so the first season is all about Mystery Science Theater 3000, the greatest
Nice.
television show ever.
Yeah.
No offense to the Weird Al Show.
No.
And we've been talking about it for 3 years, taking it from right before the show started, which also involves kind of the history of Comedy Central before it was kind of hatched. And now we've gotten to the point where we've covered the entire history of MST3K, and now we're in Riff Tracks, which is the much beloved follow-up project from 3 people that worked on MST3K. And in a few months, we'll be talking about the Netflix revival, and then that will be the end of the season, and then we'll be doing season 2 maybe in August or maybe July, and that is exciting.
Yeah, it's always fun to, switch gears. And
yes. It's scary because I don't know who's going to I don't know if people come to the podcast because they like MST3K and then stick around because it's an okay show, or if they enjoy the show itself, but that will be the make or break point. So we'll see.
Yeah.
And then
Time will tell.
The other kind of primary podcast I do is called Reels of Justice, where we do a fake court setting and bring in a guest to either defend or prosecute a movie of whether or not it's guilty or innocent of being a bad movie. And so we have a judge, we have a jury, we have opposing counsel, and it has been going on for maybe 6 months now, and it's quite fun. We've actually had 8 or 9 guests from Mystery Science Theater, more guests than I've had on the Coolness Chronicles, which is weird, but it's been really exciting. It was kind of born out of the sheltering in place, and it's kind of grown into something that I'm pretty proud of.
That's awesome. Yeah. There's, I think, a lot of really cool podcasts and podcast ideas have sort of blown out of the sheltering in place thing. But this podcast, for instance, is something that came out of that. So yeah, it's being locked down and not being able to go do the things, it gives you your brain the space to do some of those creative, things that you've kind of been sitting on because you have so many other things to do. But guess what? Now you don't. You can do those things.
Terrible time for humanity, great time for creativity.
Yeah, that's so true. I feel like, decades from now, we'll kind of all look back on this time and be glad at some of the cool creative stuff that came out of it. So
absolutely.
Yeah, that's awesome. So let's talk about some cool creative stuff, shall we? The Weird Al Show. I'm going to set it up for people just a little bit here. The Weird Al Show aired on the CBS TV network for 1 season, and that season lasted from September to December in the year 1997. 13 episodes, and not much more to say about it. I mean, yes, there is a lot more to say about it. That's what we're talking
Hopefully,
about today. Yeah, right.
hopefully we
Otherwise,
can get
okay,
something out of this. Oh boy.
yeah, yeah. Bye. It's been nice having you. No, I'm kidding. Uh, but yeah, I for something called the Weird Al Show, I feel like it falls short in so many ways, and it's hard to figure out whose quote unquote fault that actually is.
Yeah. It's an interesting case in his career in that it's pretty much like the one time that he embarked on something creative that he didn't have control over. Like
Mm-hmm.
even with, with UHF, I mean that was directed and produced and co-written with his manager, and all of his music is, of course, that's kind of his stock and trade, and he's never really had anybody interfere with that. But
Yeah,
with the Weird Al show was the first time where he like went to a network and was like, I would like to host a Saturday morning show. And they're like, great, it has to be this. And he's like, well, I don't want to do that, but I want a show. So, okay, I'll go along with it. And
yeah,
there's some good stuff, there's some bad stuff. But ultimately, I think that it's kind of like the one real heartbreak in his career, which I think is what makes it interesting.
yeah, yeah. It's the one heartbreak that's stuck. Like UHF
Right.
was kind
Yeah.
of heartbreaking for him at the
Yeah.
time, but that, of
When it
course, has,
flops, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, that develops a cult status, as time went on, and the Weird Al Show has not hit that point yet, and I don't know that it will,
Yeah. I
because
think
I was just gonna say really quick that, like, it got put out there into the world as a kids show, right? And for as goofy and silly and like accessible to children Weird Al is, I don't think he really is like for kids.
right. Yeah. He's safe enough that you can expose him to your kids and they won't be like traumatized, and they won't have, vulgarity bouncing around in their heads, but it's not like he's Raffi. He's not
Yeah,
making songs for kids. They just happen to be silly enough that kids can enjoy them.
right, right. Because there's like a level of subversiveness to Weird Al's humor that is often lost on children until you
Yeah.
kind of look back on it. My brother and I, we loved Weird Al as kids, but now kind of going back through his work as adults, we're picking out so many things that we didn't immediately get, and we're seeing the layers of brilliance, and the layers of brilliance that you really need to be a grown up to understand. So I don't know that a kids show was the right vehicle for this brilliant man.
Yeah, there's especially, yeah, I've recently kind of gone back through especially his early albums, and there's a real darkness there
Yeah.
that I don't think I picked up on, and there's kind of this beyond kind of subversive, but also kind of there's a little bit of cynicism that's kind of like biting, and it's
Mhm.
something that I think my when I convinced my parents that I should be allowed to like get his albums and stuff, they would hear the songs that they play on the radio, and they're innocuous enough that they'd be like, yeah, of course, there's nothing offensive there, because my parents
Yep.
were really strict when it came to content. And then you listen to the albums, and some of the songs are like violent and kind of like uh dark in a way that might be kind of unpalatable, but it's put in this kind of cheery kind of, with the accordion in the background. You can't really take it that seriously, but if you
Mhm.
actually look at the lyrics, there's some pretty complex stuff going on there.
Oh, for sure, for sure. You're right. Like it's violent, but it's like violence kind of wrapped up neatly with a bow on it so that you kind
Yes.
of appreciate receiving that violence.
It's not like viscera for viscera's sake. It's kind of like he's telling a story with it so that it doesn't feel overwhelming, and it doesn't feel like gross.
Right, exactly, exactly. And the two that pop to mind immediately for that are his two Christmas songs, Christmas at Ground Zero and The Night Santa Went Crazy.
Absolutely.
They sound like Christmas songs, and so if you don't listen to the words, they feel like they can be their, good, comforting Christmas songs. But then of course you have lines like we can dodge debris while we trim the tree underneath the mushroom cloud. And it's like, "Oh, okay. Alrighty then.
Yeah.
This is
And
this is dark."
and it's okay for kids because they already have songs like "Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer," so there's already
Yeah.
kind of a there's a precedence for it. But then
Yeah.
if you actually like look at like specifically the music video for Christmas at Ground Zero, it uses clips from Duck and Cover, the
Hmm.
1952 propaganda film that said, "Hey, if a nuclear bomb goes off, just get under your desk. You'll be fine. You'll be
Yeah.
okay. You won't be a
Yeah.
shadow on this on the pavement. You'll be great."
He'll totally be fine. Don't worry about it. Um, oh my goodness. Yeah, and so that is what makes him, again, like, not for kids. So the fact that the network tried to wrap him up into a back him into the corner of a kids show is crazy to
Yeah,
me. And you can tell by watching it, like, there are some absolute nuggets of brilliance in the Weird Al show, like 100%. And
absolutely.
but those nuggets of brilliance don't occur, in my mind anyway, in the actual arc of the storytelling of each episode.
Yeah,
The
that's
nuggets
true.
of brilliance are the, little TV parodies that he does, or like there's like little clips here and there, that have kind of stood the test of time. The
Yes.
arc of the show feels forced, and it's almost uncomfortable to watch in that way, because it's like you can sort of tell that Weird Al is not happy doing what he's doing here, because each episode has that lesson at the beginning that you're supposed to learn through, Weird Al's bumbling ways, through these absurd situations.
Yeah. And to get, I mean, because that was completely imposed by the network,
Yeah.
and you can tell because when every single episode opens with the moral, it's not somebody in the cast or on set saying it. It's Billy West, the narrator, telling you the moral and then screaming at least one or two of the words to kind of communicate this is not something we want to tell you, but we're going to tell you the way that the network is telling us, which is yelling at us. And then
Yeah.
they literally every single time it's on a title card and they rip the title card in half before going to the actual show. So already
Yeah,
there's symbolism. And
for sure.
the sad thing about this is that he wanted to do a kids show back in the 80s. And I think that had he been able to do that and had he been able to convince the network to let him do that, it would have been a show that he would be very suited for because the 80s was more loose. It was in terms of like content restrictions, you could get away with a lot. I
Yeah.
mean, if you look at Pee-wee's Playhouse, it's completely subversive and it's brilliant because they they make all the kind of weird and the kind of the dark stuff, they make it very palatable, but they don't condescend to the audience. And so the problem
Hmm.
is in the 80s they started doing Saturday morning versions of rated R movies as cartoons. So you have Rambo as a cartoon, you have RoboCop as a cartoon, and all of a sudden parents groups are saying TV is too violent. TV needs to be toned down and kids need to have safe programming. So they launched this initiative called EI, which is educational informative. And that informs everything in the 90s. And so when they signed up to do a show at CBS, they're like, great, we love you. We want to do your show. It has to be exactly like Pee Wee's Playhouse, except much more toned down. And every single episode has to have something educational in it. Whether it's
Mm.
appropriate or not, it needs to be educational. And they struggled with that every
Yeah.
single time.
And here's you're totally right. And here's the thing. Like, I've said this on a couple uh episodes recently, but like, Weird Al teaches us without us realizing that he's teaching us. You know, Weird Al teaches us how to kind of embrace who we are. Weird Al teaches us that it's okay to, like that weird thing that you like, as long as you're not hurting anybody.
Yeah,
Weird Al teaches us that it's cool to be kind, that kind of thing. But he does that just by embodying it. He's not shoving those lessons down our throat. And
right.
I feel like, that whole, the fact that he had to teach something, there had to be something educational, and it had to be really obviously educational. it hurt this show so much, because I feel like if he could have done this show the way that he wanted to, like, yeah, should Weird Al be doing a kid show? Probably not. Could he? Absolutely. And I think if he was able to do it the way that he wanted to do it, kids would have learned without realizing they were learning, and we may have gotten more than 13 episodes out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's even though they kind of got like shoehorned with the Pee-wee's Playhouse model, it seems that CBS didn't understand what made Pee-wee's Playhouse good, and that is that they never told you a lesson by turning to the camera and going, "Well, kids, this is what you need to do." All they do is they put Pee-wee in a situation where he's not comfortable, and he has to adapt to kind of learn how to treat people, and uh, in that way it's informative and instructive because it's trying to teach empathy, and it's trying to tell kids that yes, we're all different, but that's the best thing about us, without ever actually saying those words. And
Yeah.
with, I mean, like you brought up, which is a perfect point, is that Weird Al by his very nature is kind of progressive, simply because he takes the name Weird, puts it in his name, is like, and I'm not ashamed of that. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
It being weird is awesome. And inhabiting kind of like whenever he does either a pastiche or a specific parody, he's not like, he's not taking the song that he's making fun of and saying like, and this is stupid and this
Right.
is, everything is lame. It's finding some way to kind of connect it to kind of like ephemera, and kind of find a way to gently make his point. He's not, he's not a hardcore like an Onion satirist. He's a
Yeah.
satirist who has a very deft touch, and in that way is
Absolutely.
very sincere, but it's also, it's not mean in any way.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like Weird Al is like a mirror on both pop culture and society, but he's a funhouse mirror,
Yes,
you
absolutely.
know? And
Distorts it just enough.
just enough so you can see like, oh, okay. Like even in some of his lyrical content, I was talking recently with Russ from the Infectious Groove podcast about the album Poodle Hat, and the song on that album, Why Does This Always Happen to Me? Where there's like guys watching TV, and like there's a massive earthquake in Peru and people are dying and things like that. But the guy's upset because the news broke into The Simpsons to tell him about this. And he's like, why does this always happen to me? You know? And like that is such a human thing. Like everybody, I'm sorry, like everybody does that. I told Russ, I said, at the beginning of all this COVID stuff, they would break in with the news. They'd break into The Price is Right almost every day. And I got mad about it. I was like, come on, I just want to watch Drew Carey, please. And I recognized that in myself. And then I, listened again to Poodle Hat, and I heard that song and I was like, oh, I get it. I was kind of a jerk for thinking that at the time.
Yeah.
Because this is important news for people. Like, that's a little more important than me getting to watch people play Plinko.
It's a soft nudge towards like, embrace the outer world, understand
Yeah.
that you're not the center of the universe. And
Yeah.
it's kind of it's ingenious in its own way.
Absolutely. And you've given me a wonderful segue just there. A soft nudge to remind you that you're not the center of the universe. Let's talk a little bit about the character of Weird Al on the Weird Al show.
Ooh, that is a good segue. Yes.
It isn't it? I know. That just happened naturally. But the character of Weird Al on the Weird Al show is so different from who Weird Al actually is. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, absolutely. The best way that I can compare it is that in the 80s, I think it was 1980, maybe 4 or 5, he took over MTV for like a day, an entire
LTV.
day. Yes, exactly. And he would do the news, and which was always, just an excuse to kind of do a very corny pun, or he would answer letter mail. He would answer viewer mail. Gotta love that letter mail.
Gotta love
Uh,
that letter mail.
he would answer like, viewer mail, and he'd say, "Oh, somebody sent me something," and then he would empty out the letter, and it would be like beef stew just coming down. But it was very genial, and it was very like, it's like, I'm just a guy. I'm just here. I don't know why I'm here, but I'm going to do my best.
Yeah.
And on the Weird Al show, he is a jerk. He is the
Yes.
biggest jerk in the world. And specifically, I was listening to the audio commentary that's on the Shout Factory DVD, which I don't believe is on sale anymore, but you can find it for a very unreasonable price on eBay.
Ugh.
Uh, and it is literally 4.5 hours of just like, oh God, what is going on here? Oh, why did they make us do that? Oh, I hate this. And every single episode, all they would do maybe like 6 times per episode is like, wow, Al, you really are a jerk in this episode. And he
Uh-huh.
would he would just express like, yeah, I don't know why I had to be such a jerk. Like, I have a little bit of dimension to me. I don't know why it has to be so one note. But that's kind of, if you want to call it an arc, if anything has an arc in the Weird Al show, it's that he starts off the episode being mean to somebody or being treated poorly for probably reasons that he deserved, and then eventually comes around and does one nice thing and then gets killed at the end of the episode. And that's really his arc.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And it's like, it bothers me so much. It didn't bother me when I watched this, because I watched this when it was on TV, in 1997. Um, it didn't bother me so much at the time, but it bothers me now, knowing more and more and more about kind of Weird Al as a person. Um,
Yeah.
it bothers me to see him be mean, because I know he's not. Uh, and I don't like it. That makes me almost more uncomfortable than the little lessons at the beginning, or the fact that so much of it seems forced. Like, seeing Weird Al as this one note jerk that can do like
Yeah.
a nice thing now and then. It's just so not a representation of who he is. And just to go back to what I was saying before, like, I think if Weird Al was able to just be himself on this show, we would have learned even more about all of the quote unquote lessons.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think that if streaming had existed in the late 90s, I think that he could have easily found a home which would have given him probably maybe a little less than the budget that he had on CBS, but enough to execute what he wanted to do. And if that existed, and he had kind of like free reign with the content, that show might have lasted for like 8 or 9 years, and there would have been like constant kind of new kind of layers of nuance to the Weird Al persona, and it would have been able to grow and kind of evolve into something interesting. But
Yeah.
as it is, it's such a strange thing, because not only did he have to compromise his kind of his style to make the show in the first place, he also had to compromise who he was. Like, to do a kid show as he wanted to do it, his persona as it exists is the perfect persona for a kid show.
Yeah.
And to then get the show and then have to change that persona, then it's doubly kind of defeating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, I feel like this is like a perfect example of one of the several times in Al's career where the timing was just wrong. Because you're absolutely right. Like, if Weird Al was able to put out a kid show in the time of streaming, like in the time of YouTube, where he could have had more control, you're right. This could have been a thing that stuck around for quite some time. But unfortunately, it was the late 90s. He
Yeah.
had to go through a network to make it happen, and that's what made it, that's what dragged it down. um and the same sort of thing can be said for, UHF. Again, the timing was completely wrong for that
Yeah.
too, because it came out in the summer of 1989, which is arguably one of the largest, blockbuster movie summers
Yeah.
that there had been up to that point. And this little movie just got drowned out by everything, but it kind of found its place afterwards. And yeah, the timing was just off. And Weird Al being a jerk in the show is also just off. There's just so much that's off about this show.
Yeah.
But it did do a lot of things right, because I find myself saying some things that get said on the show now and then in my life. Anytime anybody starts asking me way too many questions, I go, "Oh, it's Bobby, the inquisitive boy."
One of the best characters on the series.
Yeah.
Although
Oh.
the original idea for Bobby is my favorite because they wanted to uh, have him be played by a different person in every episode and always introduce him as Bobby the Inquisitive Boy and eventually get to the point where he would be portrayed by a middle-aged woman and be like, "Oh, hi, Bobby," and just have the middle-aged woman just talk like Bobby the Inquisitive Boy. And that is the kind of weird decision that, no pun intended, weird
Yeah.
decision.
It's completely
That is the
weird.
kind of thing that has an audience now, has a very, very specific audience. Like Adult Swim does this all the time. In fact,
Mhm.
if this was on Adult Swim, even though that's technically for adults or at least like college age stoners, I think
Yeah.
that it would have been a better fit.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Like, I could see Weird Al, like, because Weird Al has found his spot on some, TV shows. And,
Yeah.
he did a great little guest bit on Tim and Eric. Awesome show. Great job.
He did 2 seasons of Comedy Bang Bang as
Yes, he
the
did.
music provider instead of Reggie Watts, which he was fantastic on.
Yeah. And so, like, you're right. Maybe an Adult Swim, maybe an adult Weird Al show is
Yeah,
what the world needs.
it's kind of like how, to go back to Pee-wee's Playhouse, like Paul Rubens created that character as part of a adult themed kind of cabaret act. And then
Yeah.
even when he started the actual Playhouse thing, it was in Los Angeles and kind of like this grimy kind of artsy theater. And then some network executive saw that and was like, that could work on television. We just need to tone it down just a little and we could still get across what we want to get across. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that there's the kind of blend of it's adult but it's not offensive. It's kind of juvenile but it's not kiddie. Like that kind of weird balance. And if not Adult Swim, like maybe Cartoon Network, which really straddles that line kind of
Mm-hmm.
constantly.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I feel like adults often don't give kids enough credit for how much they can understand and take in,
Absolutely. Yeah.
and kids are way more intuitive than adults give them credit for. And the idea that in order for a child to learn something you have to shove a lesson down their throat is it's offensive in a way to kids,
Yeah.
uh kids don't want to know that they're learning. Kids want to stumble across the knowledge themselves. They want to figure it out for themselves. And I think the Weird Al show could have accomplished. I watched Pee Wee's Playhouse when I was a kid. Like that was my show. I had a Pee Wee lunchbox that I took to preschool.
I had
Uh,
the action figure set that was the entire Playhouse. It was my
nice.
favorite thing ever. I
Yeah. Yeah.
adore that show. Oh my
It's
god.
great. It's great. It's great. And the Weird Al show had the potential to be on par with that, but it just didn't happen, you
Yeah.
know. But I'd like to see some of these characters come back because there's some great stuff in the
Oh,
Weird Al
absolutely.
show.
Is it the Hooded Avenger? I
The
think
Hooded Avenger.
I would love I could watch a spin-off show of him just kind of giving really corny lessons and then clearly not actually learning from them. Or I could
Yeah.
do an entire spin-off of just Cousin Corky, who's my
Oh,
absolute favorite.
she's great, especially the episode with the talent show where she's like afraid to
Yes. Yeah,
display
and
her talent
crushes
'cause
walnuts with her bare hands.
yeah,
Yes.
she's like freakishly strong. It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, just her wardrobe alone.
I
Oh, it's
know.
fantastic.
Well, her wardrobe is like that perfect capsule of that late 90s mod 60s look resurgence.
Yes. Yeah, it's like right around when Austin Powers hit and it was kind of
Mhm.
like, "Oh, we can bring back frilly shirts again? We
Yeah.
can have this bright green headdress? All right, awesome. Yeah, let's do
Yeah.
this."
Yeah, that's what she was. And I mean, I'd also watch a TV show about Val Brentwood, Gal Spy.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yes, just seeing her go, just to see her go on like different missions every week
Yeah.
and find
Yeah.
new ways to like put her hand on her hip and flip her cape over one shoulder. Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
She is marvelous. Like,
Yes.
other than, because of course I love Weird Al as Weird Al, but I feel like Val Brentwood Gal Spy. First of all, I just like saying Val Brentwood Gal Spy, but I feel like she might be my favorite character because she doesn't hesitate to call Al out on his crap when he's being a jerk.
Yeah.
You know, she's not afraid to say Al,
Come on.
come on, right?
Al,
And
Bubala, come on! Why are you being such a bad guy? Come on!
that's what we needed. We needed the lasagna guy on this show.
That's
Hey,
gonna be my
Matt.
new character's lasagna guy. Hey, how's it going?
Hey.
Come on, just be good. Hey, what's going on?
Yeah, but how about the calzone? Yeah.
Come on, you breaking your mother's heart. Come on.
That's really good. That's really good.
I've been practicing.
I could tell. I could tell that you put a lot of work into that, and I appreciate that you are bringing your A game to the Beard Out podcast
Yeah.
today.
It's part of my one-man show. You like a lasagna. That's
You like a
starring Ryan Luis
lasagna.
Rodriguez. Yeah, it's fantastic. I'll be at the Troubadour every Thursday at 8.
That's too funny. Oh my god. Uh some of the other characters on this show that also stick around is Fat Man, the Fat Man
Yeah.
cartoon. Oh, I love it.
It was kind of surprising when I was rewatching it for this show is that especially lately it's not something that bugged me as a kid, but kind of you know, body shaming, especially for people who are overweight, is really something that kind of really like offends me now. I don't know
Mhm.
why specifically. I think it's maybe because I've gained like 60 pounds and I'm kind of more sensitive about that stuff. But when I remembered, oh yeah, he has a character called Fat Man, I immediately thought like, well, that's not going to age well. But then in watching the cartoon, it's surprisingly empathetic, and it's never like mean jokes for the sake of mean jokes.
Mhm.
And it's not like the people around him are like, oh, this guy, he's just so fat, it's gross. It's just like, no, he's a large he's a large guy, but he still gets the job done eventually. And
Yeah.
nobody's mean to him for being fat. He just happens to be fat. And that just
Yeah.
happens to be a superpower of his. It's not just an attribute. It's a superpower, which is kind of awesome.
It is kind of that. You're right. Yeah, because that's when he can get the stuff done. That's when he's strong. That's when he's able to do all this stuff he does. Is when he's Fat Man.
Yeah, the
You know?
regular Al Yankovic couldn't take a piece of meat and fly it into the sky to stop nuclear bombs from hitting the Earth. He needs to
No, but Fat
become
Man
Fat
can.
Man to do that, which is kind of
Yes,
cool.
it is kind of cool. Yeah, and that's part of the brilliance of Weird Al. Of course, is that things that you're like, oh, is
Yeah,
that gonna? But like, because he's never mean.
right.
He's never mean. Like, even the song "Fat" is not mean.
Yeah, he's boasting in the entire, just like Michael Jackson did in Bad. It's not I'm fat and I'm depressed about this. It's I do all these things that all these fat jokes that people use to break other people down and hurt them. I own them. That is
Yep.
what I do because I am fat and being fat is awesome. That
Right.
song has aged surprisingly well, as has the music video, which just kind of like reinforces those ideas.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so true. It's so true. And that's again Weird Al's genius is that he never wants anybody to feel bad.
Yes, absolutely.
He's such a positive thing to have in the world, and I feel like more people need to get on this Weird Al train and understand like,
Yeah.
yo, he's super important. Because I don't know if you have been following along, but as of the date of this recording, and God help me if I'm still doing it when this episode comes out, but that's the plan. I've been wearing a Weird Al shirt every day so far in 2021, and I have my Weird Al shirt on, and I went to the dog park this afternoon just to let my dogs get some energy out. And
Hmm.
this guy sees I'm wearing my running with scissors shirt that I actually got on the running with scissors tour in 2000.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's a cool shirt. And this guy's like, "Oh man, I love Weird Al." And we talked about Weird Al for like 5 minutes. And I said, "See, that's what Weird Al does to the world." It's like, I just, I just felt really positive for a couple of minutes there, even though, despite, things in the world,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, yeah, this is something that can bring people together. Or you can use it as like a litmus test to know who's like cool to talk to and who's not.
Yeah, I like to think of him as kind of like a handshake of empathy. Like
Uh,
it's the way, I mean, like, and I know we're not supposed to be shaking hands now, but it's kind of the metaphysical handshake, where if you're in an environment and and you kind of demonstrate any kind of like appreciation for him, that, like on a shirt, or uh if you're playing music out loud and somebody hears it and they go like, oh, I know that. it's the
mhm.
it's the way that kind of like people can come together through shared behavior. And that is, it's this idea of demonstrating empathy through action, instead of having to sit down and tell people, we're all the same underneath our skin. We all like similar things. It allows people to come to that on their own. And I think that's kind of like the miracle of Weird Al, is that he never has to tell people like, "Hey, just get along." It's just, if the right people hear it and they're in proximity, they'll get it.
Yeah, yeah, and that's part of the goal with all of this, right? Is just shouting out into the world for whoever may be listening that, Weird Al is great. And I feel like more people need to understand that, because if more people did, we'd have much better people in the world,
Yes.
because there's not a mean bone in his body, even though, again, his character on this show is nothing but
Yeah.
mean bones.
He's got a mean tibia. He's got a mean fibia. He's got a mean coccyx. He's got all the mean stuff. That's
All of
all
them,
he
even
is.
a mean humorous.
Which is odd, because him being mean is not very humorous.
Humorous.
Ba-dum-bum.
But I like it. Oh God! But how about let's touch on the theme song a little bit, because one of the things my brother and I pride ourselves in is the fact that we can, at will, anytime you want us to, sing the theme song to the Weird Al show.
That's actually impressive, because there's a section of the song that's about maybe 5 or 10 seconds long where I have no idea what he's saying. So let's see if you can actually clear this up for me. So,
Okay.
right after the tater tot farm, and leading up to how he describes that he lives in the center of the earth,
Okay.
I have no idea what he's singing during the part of the theme song where they show the globe and then he cuts it in half with a knife. I have
Oh,
no clue.
then he got himself a job on a tater tot farm, and he spent his life savings on a split level cave 20 miles below the surface of the earth, and he really makes a mighty fine jelly bean and pickle sandwich for what it's worth.
Awesome. Okay, now I know that. Okay, now I know the entire theme song. But that's the
There you
one
go.
part I had no idea. Thank you for that. That will
You're welcome. This
that takes a weight off my soul. Now that I
ah,
know that.
yes, that is my good deed for the day.
Forget donating to charity and stuff. That's just teaching
No,
dummies like me 5
the
lyrics to a
lyrics.
theme song. Oh,
Well, I'll never forget it. There was one time, it was several years ago, and we had gone out to a pizza place with, it was my brother, his, I believe she was his fiance at the time, so they weren't even married yet. Her parents were there, our parents were there, and I'm there, and something spurred us on. And my brother and I are sitting across from each other in this big long booth at this pizza place, and we just kind of locked eyes and we started singing the Weird Al theme song to the point. And then everybody else sitting at the table, like our parents knew what we were doing, but my brother's fiance and her parents, and I think her sister might have been there too. They just kind of looked at us like, "What is happening right now?" And we did it. We did the whole thing. and then we kept eating our pizza. It's just like we just moved right past it. Like we just had this like locked eyes moments. Oh, this is a story about a guy named Al, and we just went through the whole thing.
It's such a delightful theme. And I think it was didn't he put it on one of his later albums? It wasn't on an album before, of course, but I think it was like
Yeah, it's
I
on Running with Scissors, which is
okay.
the shirt I'm wearing
All right.
today.
Woo, so
Yeah,
nice synergy. That's great.
synergy.
But
Exactly.
the great thing, not just because it's a really catchy theme, and I especially love that it kind of at times sounds like the soundtrack to Splash Mountain in
Mm.
Disneyland, which aside from being kind of racist, has really nice music. Uh, but the cool thing, especially about the opening credits, is that they're animation, but it's specifically three separate types of animation. Like
Yes.
it starts off with very Saturday morning hand drawn cartoons that kind of remind me of maybe a little bit of Animaniacs, but also a little bit of like the Beetlejuice show and some Back to the Future the series, which is appropriate considering that Peyton Reed, who directed uh, the educational segments with Doc Brown on that show, also directed every episode of the Weird Al show.
Oh wow, yeah.
And then it goes to very kind of rudimentary 3D, which kind of looks like Veggie Tales, but also has a really kind of interesting look to it. It even has like a moment where they reenact a scene from The Lion King,
It's kind of
which is
dark. Yeah.
a
Yeah.
strange decision to make because there's really nothing in it that suggests anything about The Lion King, but whatever. And then
Yeah.
it goes into very Pee Wee's Playhouse claymation, like not uh not like Wallace and Gromit level, but very much like Penny, the girl from Pee Wee's Playhouse, kind of mixed with his Jurassic Park video, which is appropriate because the guys who did the Jurassic Park video also did this claymation part.
Yes, I was gonna say it's the same. It's the same people, and Weird Al has a good long history with claymation.
Yes.
Um, because you've got the claymation bit also in UHF
Yeah.
with Philo when he kind of reveals that he's an alien. And the thing that I think is super cool about that is that Philo Philo's claymation is done by the same claymation artist who did Large Marge from Pee Wee's Big Adventure.
Really? Oh, that's
Yes.
awesome. That's so cool
Yeah.
because it's I probably wouldn't have been able to pick that out if I didn't like look at the credits, but there's also an element of Beetlejuice in there. And so
Uh-huh.
that kind of thematic connection to Tim Burton is actually pretty appropriate.
Yeah, I thought you might find that cool if you didn't already know that.
That's
And
awesome.
there's a lot of crossover between the Weird Al show and UHF because
Yeah.
Geddy Watanabe's character Cooney appears in the Weird Al show, and then you also have David Bowie, Victoria Jackson, Kevin McCarthy, and Emo Phillips
Yeah.
also make appearances in episodes of the Weird Al show, which while is awesome for Weird Al fans who know what to look for, that kind of thing again largely lost on the children watching
Yeah.
this for the first time
Es-
without that
es-
knowledge.
Especially with Cooney, who does not when he shows up, they don't seem to have like a similar relationship than they did in UHF, and especially since he's playing Weird Al's playing a character in UHF, George,
Yeah.
so he's not playing himself. So it's technically a crossover since Geddy Watanabe is playing. If he's not playing the same character, he's playing a character with the exact same name, but
Yeah.
and it's a very very short bit, far too short. I would have liked to see that as an entire episode. Instead it's like 90 seconds. But
Mm.
when he walks off, he says his famous line from UHF, which I don't think any kid watching was like, oh, that's yeah, I remember that. Like,
Right.
no, maybe their parents, maybe, but none of the 5-year-olds in the audience going, stupid, you're so
It was so
stupid,
stupid.
like nobody knows that. But I mean, it tickles me to no end, simply
Yeah.
because it's, I mean, any reminder that people are aware of UHF other than me, which for the longest time did not seem like it was a reality, it makes my heart, it makes my heart and my heart very full. I
Yeah.
turn into the Grinch and it grows 3 sizes.
Right? Right? Knowing that people know UHF just makes you so dang happy. Like I have a couple of t-shirts from UHF that I've kind of worked into my rotation. And one of my shirts is Spatula City.
Oh,
And
so
yeah,
great.
I have a Spatula City shirt. And
And the obsession with spatulas continues in this show. In the
uh-huh.
opening credits, the dental hygienist with a spatula tattoo on her arm,
Yep.
and there's at one point the Hooded Avenger gives Harvey a branded spatula as a gift. I think it's
Yeah.
on his birthday episode.
Yeah, because that's the one where Weird Al discovers time travel because he forgot to buy Harvey a birthday present.
Yes, goes back to the time of dinosaurs.
Oh my
Oh,
god,
so good.
and another great bit from that particular episode is uh I believe, is that the same episode with Taj Mowry? No,
No,
it's
that's the
not.
one where is that the one where he sings all the time?
No, that's yes, because his uncle, the TV show guy,
Yeah,
JB Toppersmith,
uh,
Stan Freberg,
yeah,
he sends
Stanford.
his nephew in, and the nephew is spending the whole day with Al. That's right. And then Taj Mowry shows up wanting to plug something on the Weird Al show. And
Which
when Weird
nobody
Al
wanted to do.
no, no. And then when Weird Al goes to play the video, he plays a bit from his own from the music video for Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
And Taj Mowry's like, hey, that's not it. And then they argue about whether or not Taj Mowry was in Jurassic Park. But then it gets great because he was like, hey, like as a way to make it up to you, do you want to try my automatic toenail clipper? And Taj Mowry puts his foot in this thing and his foot turns into a dinosaur foot. And it's like, why?
Yeah.
Why? Why? Who thought that was a good idea?
And the crazy thing is, that was supposed to be Jeff Goldblum. He wanted to get Jeff Goldblum to be in that scene so that he could play the scene from his Jurassic Park video and then say, I'm going to play a clip from your movie Jurassic Park. And then after coming back from the clip, no, that's actually your music video. That's not the movie I was in. He's like, no, I thought I saw you. Yeah, you were in the corner of the frame. It wasn't a good transfer. I guess, it's not in letterbox, so we couldn't see it totally in that scene. And he would just constantly be like, no, Al, that's your music video. I have no idea what you're talking about, but do it in a Jeff Goldblum way, which I can't do.
Oh my God.
And he pursued Goldblum for a while to the point that Jeff Goldblum has I don't know if he still has it, but he had a jazz band in Los Angeles, and Al would go to his shows and wait until the show was over and then kind of like, schmooze with him, be like, hey, Jeff, I'm a big fan of your jazz. It's fantastic or whatever. And so I'm doing the show. I'm doing a Jurassic Park segment. You want to be on it? And I think he said like, no, it's chaos. I don't want to do that. No, thank you. And so instead, they go for Taj Mowry, who I think if you watch it now, you're like, who? The brother from the Girls from what? Okay, whatever. But that's kind of how all the guests work on the show. It's always like, why are they here? But it's
so
always
random.
fun to see them.
It's so random. Like the one where he's trying to get John Tesh to visit, and he's trying to, he does all these TV, the selling things on TV to raise the money to get John Tesh to show up. Why John Tesh? That's crazy. But the sidebar, the one line from that particular episode that does stick with me is what he calls a fork when he's trying to sell it. He calls it a four-tined food stabber. And I still call forks four-tined food stabbers unless I'm eating at the Olive Garden where they are three-tined food stabbers.
Oh, that's awesome. My favorite moment in that is he has the crystal ball that is Ron Popeil, and I forget what the exercise guy's name is, but
Richard Simmons?
No, he's a big like muscle bound guy. He looks like he eats like creatine every day. He has a ponytail. I can't even think of it, but they're his oracles that are supposed to guide him through selling crap on television. And at the end, they zoom into the crystal ball, and they're defeated because they didn't get him to join their infomercial kind of cabal. And Ron Popeil says he was our last hope, and then it kind of dims, and the exercise guy turns his head to the sky and says, "No, there is another." And I mean, Empire Strikes Back is possibly like one of the most well-known movies of all time. I don't even think that the kids watching that would be like, "Oh, Star Wars, yeah, of course." But that's, I mean,
Yeah.
oh, that's the stuff
Yeah.
that I appreciate about that show.
Yeah, sure, for sure, for sure. And there's the one time Weird Al and his band actually perform a full length song on this show is he straps on the accordion and they do Yoda.
Yeah,
And this is before the uh the prequel trilogy even came
yeah.
out, you know?
Like
So,
2 years before, and then I think that
uh-huh.
same year, that's when he did The Saga Begins.
Right, 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 right. And so, yeah, Weird Al actually like got a screener of The Saga Begins to be able to write the song. It wasn't a screener. I think maybe he read like a synopsis or something.
Yeah,
Um,
he saw a list of spoilers on, I think, maybe Ain't It Cool, because they were notorious for posting that stuff. And he thought, well, if it's wrong and it turns out that somebody just made this stuff up, then it'll still be funny. It won't be accurate, but it'll be funny. And it turns out everything that's in the song is actually in the Phantom Menace,
yeah,
which is crazy.
absolutely. It's crazy. And I'm one of those people that if somebody were to ask me like what order do I watch the Star Wars movies, like this, that, and the other, I mean, people have different opinions on what order to watch things, but the one thing I always say is you don't have to watch The Phantom Menace. Just
Yeah.
listen to this Weird Al song and move on.
The order I watch them in is 4, 5, 6. And that's it. And then
Yeah,
maybe like 7, 8, and not 9. But never 1, 2, 3. Although over the past like year, I've watched Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and Revenge of the Sith each 4 times
ugh,
in preparation for another podcast, and I almost lost my will to live. It was
yeah,
quite bad.
yeah. They're not great. Talk about talk about somebody who can like crap on their own legacy.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, oh, I think the best thing George Lucas ever did was to kind of like let go and let Disney handle things.
Oh, I absolutely agree. I think that the disappointing thing about like the Disney Star Wars movies is that they're very impersonal for the most part. Like it feels like whenever J.J. Abrams makes a Star Wars movie, it's, well, I know what people expect from Star Wars. I don't really have anything to say about those things. I just know what people want to see to be entertained when they see it. And
Hmm.
then you have like somebody like Ryan Johnson making The Last Jedi who's like, listen, I know everything about Star Wars. I'm going to tweak it and just kind of have fun with it. And then, of course, the internet lost their minds. But that's the one Star Wars movie of the new kind of Disney movies that actually has like a perspective. That actually feels
Yeah.
like somebody made a movie that they're passionate about and that they actually have something to say about the universe. But with like Lucas, like I appreciate that this is his world and that he is the ultimate author of these things, and he should absolutely have every right to tell the story how he wants to tell it. He's just not good at it anymore.
Right. I
That's the
feel like,
problem.
yeah, yeah. And once a story is told and accepted and appreciated, there's no need to retell it.
Yes, absolutely. That's the heartbreak for me. Is not so much the prequels, because at least with those, when he made them and they were done, like he would maybe go back and like add scenes, but he didn't, tweak it other than like making the Yoda puppet CGI in Phantom Menace. But those are
Yeah.
very much complete movies. Whereas you look at 4, 5, and 6, 5, which is my favorite movie ever, is relatively untouched, and that makes me feel very relieved, because the changes to 4 and 6, I don't think I'd have a problem with them if they weren't so ugly.
Yeah.
Just it's so disappointing that he realizes like, okay, I made this movie, all these people love it, even if I'm disappointed with how some things are handled, nobody seems to complain about them. So I'm going to go back 20 years later with technology that has nothing to do with the technology I made them with, and just change all the things that people have actually liked over the last 20 years. It's
Yeah,
so sad.
it's sad. It's sad, you know. And just to, circle back to where we are here, like, even seeming disappointment like the Weird Al show really hasn't done anything to tarnish Weird Al's legacy. It's a blip.
Yeah.
Uh it's something that happened, and once you understand the story that, like, this wasn't what he really really wanted to do, it's just how it ended up being, you can understand and appreciate it, you know.
Yeah. It's like a case study. It's something
Mhm.
that you don't necessarily need to see in order to get kind of like the full picture, but it is something that if you're a devotee and you're interested in kind of how his arc goes, even if the character doesn't have an arc, the man has an arc. And it
Yeah.
is an essential kind of like, well, not essential, but it is a text that is worth discovering, although you need to be prepared for the fact that it is compromised. And that is
Yeah.
always disappointing.
Yeah, it's always disappointing, but you know, even though it was disappointing in its way, there were some crazy guest stars and musical guests that showed up on this thing. To
Oh,
answer
yeah.
your question from before, Tony Little is the big buff guy you were thinking of.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
Now I
yeah, yeah.
that
But it,
fills in the missing puzzle piece in my brain. Oh, thank you.
again, happy to do it, happy to help. Um, but we've had folks like Patton Oswalt on the show. Bare Naked Ladies were a musical guest.
Their first American performance in
Yeah,
on television.
yeah, they did Shoebox, and my favorite part about it is that they're coming from a Renaissance fair, so they go down the elevator into Weird Al's split level cave 20 miles below the surface of the earth, and then Weird Al looks at the camera and he goes, "Oh, look, it's our good friends, the Bare Naked Ladies." And it just makes me laugh. But yeah, Tony Little, Ron Popeil, John Tesh, Clarence Clemens, the saxophone player from Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band,
Yeah, as a
was one of
minor,
a miner in mining accident. Michael McKean was a miner.
David Lander, the
Yep,
late David Lander, R.I.P.
yep,
And of course the aforementioned David Bowie from UHF.
yep. We've got Alex Trebek was himself.
Such a good sketch too.
Yeah,
Oh,
trying trying to like selling you too can know everything like me. Um, oh my God, Terry Garr, Victoria Jackson, and Al's whole band was on.
Hanson.
Hanson was
This
a
is where he
musical
met
guest.
Hanson, and
Uh
then
huh.
eventually did their music video where he played Bill Paxton from Titanic, which also
Yes,
somehow got Gloria Stewart, Academy Award nominee Gloria Stewart, to play her role from Titanic. Oh, that's
it's
insane.
it's insane. And it just goes to show like what Weird Al can do.
Yeah.
Dick Van Patten. There's so many
In a
people.
tutu, dancing in a
Dick Van
tutu. Oh,
Dick
that
Van
that poor
Patten
guy.
dancing in a tutu. Fabio Deze Fuentes.
Yeah.
God,
Marilyn Ricecrub as a clumsy meteorologist, possibly my favorite moment in the entire series.
that's a good one.
Tearing through her green screen on accident and then eventually falling through it. Oh, so good.
I mean, there's so many good bits. Dr. Demento was on. Dweezil Zappa.
Feeding a lion and then getting eaten by that lion.
Yes. Oh God. Drew Carey, Fred Willard.
Oh,
Um,
Fred Willard.
Fred
Oh,
Willard,
Willard.
R.I.P. Yeah. Yep. Dick Clark, R.I.P.
Yeah.
Gilbert Gottfried, Martha Quinn, Macho Man, Randy Savage. And some of the musical guests, again, are just insane. Like the final episode of the show, the episode Al Gets Robbed, the musical guest is All for One, the R&B group.
Yeah.
And they get into Al's cave, and obviously all of the musical instruments have been stolen. So they have to sing a cappella, and they do a Stevie Wonder song.
Yeah. It's the music bits, they could never really get who they wanted to get, which is I think interesting in the context of the series because there's no guests that show up that are they're not necessarily like none of them necessarily would appeal to little kids, but there's
Mm-hmm.
nobody who shows up that's like, oh, they had to get this band. Like everybody
Yeah.
brings it, and everybody does a great job. Like even you have like Radish shows up, and they were at Lollapalooza that same year.
Yeah.
And even though like if you listen to the song, it's edited by the censors because the song is mostly about female genitalia,
Yeah.
which I guess they approved them to get the rights to the song, but then decided later, oh, this is dirty. Oh, we got to cut out that word. It's like, well, yeah, didn't you sign off on that?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's
Whatever.
crazy. Yeah, Radish. That's Ben Queller. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. It's nuts. It's this show is so there's no other word for it. It's weird.
Yeah.
Everything about it is weird, and I think if it was just allowed to be the weird that it needed to be, we would be having a completely different conversation today.
Yes. Absolutely. It's I mean, yes, suitably weird, but also just tonally. But where it succeeds, it really succeeds. Like
Mhm.
especially the single camera sketches are. I think that if you were just to take those out, like especially like whenever he channel surfs and they go between the little kind of little bits, I think that if you were just to take those out as independently from the series, they would be kind of all timers. Like if you just put them up on YouTube, they would get viral very quick. They're
Yeah.
fantastic. And that
Yeah.
is totally the invention of Peyton Reed, who right after this then went on to direct half of the film sketches on the final season of Mr. Show, and then
Mm.
did the first two seasons of Upright Citizens Brigade, which are fantastic, and then directed Bring It On and Down with Love, which is one of the
I
most
love that
amazing
movie.
looking comedies I think in recent memory, and then is now the director of Ant Man and Ant
Yes.
Man and the Wasp, and now Ant Man in and the Wasp in Quantum Mania.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy how like all of this is connected. All these people. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. I just wish the Weird Al show was better and was allowed to be better. But I think that's a pretty good note to wrap this up on, you know?
Yeah,
There was so much potential here that was just lost to the time that it unfortunately came out in, but it's left us with some really wonderful nuggets that can stick with us forever.
absolutely.
So, anyway, anything you wanted to wrap up with here at the end? You want to plug yourself at the end again?
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on the
Oh
show.
yeah, thanks for being here.
I'm a big fan of the podcast, uh, and this is really an honor. And I would love to have you on my show uh, soon, hopefully, if you'd
Yeah,
like.
I'm down.
And so I guess just check out my podcast, The Coolness Chronicles, Reels of Justice, on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, wherever you can find Beard Owl, you can find those shows. I'm quite proud
It's
of
true.
them. And I'm also on Patreon. I do weekly episodes that kind of spin off from The Coolness Chronicles. It's patreon.com/Coolness Chronicles. It is a lot of fun. And yeah, I think those speak for themselves.
I like it, and I will link what I can in the notes for this episode, so
Oh,
people
awesome.
just go ahead and look at the details and click things. That you can
Thank you
do
so
that
much.
too. Yeah, well, again, thank you, Ryan, so much for being here. This has been great. I enjoyed talking about the Weird Al show because I don't think enough people talk about it.
I'm just glad that I got to watch it again. Like even with
That's
all the disappointing stuff, it's still, I mean, when it succeeds, it really succeeds. And
yeah.
uh let's just say that the last year or so have been very rough and I need stuff like the Weird Al show to kind of like pick up my mood. So it was a delight to get to actually watch this stuff again.
Yeah, and seriously, people, if you can, please watch the Weird Al show. I mean, we bemoaned it a little bit because we feel like it could have been more than it was, but what it is good to watch, and I think you can find it. I think it's on Prime. It's on
It
Amazon
is.
Prime.
It is occasionally free. At the moment, you'd have to rent it or buy it. But just like last month, it was free with Prime. So keep an eye out for it. It's for Shout Factory TV, the app. I'm pretty sure they have it, which I think is also a free app.
Cool.
I think you might have to like watch commercials or something, but
Eh,
it's a sacrifice worth making. And
definitely.
keep an eye out for
Definitely.
it because it'll pop up, and you might have a kind of narrow window, but it is worth the investment.
I 100% agree. It's worth the investment. And so, once again, this has been a very special episode of the Beard Owl podcast. I'm still Lauren. John will be with us next week when we're hitting one of our regular episodes with a song. And Ryan, once again, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me.
All right, goodbye, everybody.
Bye bye.
Oh, beautiful.